Oh, you know it's serious. You know it's a big deal when I got the whiteboard out. Oh, goodness. Hey, everybody, Rouse27 back here, and I wanted to have a discussion video following up with my video yesterday that caused a lot more interest and outrage and support than I could have assumed or imagined. The whole idea is Shangri-La's location. Oh, look at all the crap I have on my board. And that's really what it's about. It's a discussion, and Treyarch is very big about telling us some things, but not everything. Something that was told to me recently was the way Treyarch views these type of storytelling in the game is they like to have us go from A to C. Now, what I mean by that is, like, you're trying to connect the dots in a storyline, and you go from A to B to C. Classic narratives, even like campaign and stuff like that in Call of Duty, or any story for that matter, your character goes here, has this conflict, and it just keeps going in a linear fashion. Treyarch is different. That's the love of the game, and if you don't like that, then what are you doing here? I mean, I can understand you might be first dipping your toe in the pool, like, do I like this stuff? And then you could be like, oh no, I don't. It's way too much investment on my part to give a flying crap about the storyline. Totally fine. But they very much want to be like, here's some ideas. And all that narrative in the middle, they take out. And they hope for us, as a collective, like, hive mind of sorts, to connect it all the way to C. And be like, hey, you know what? We think this is it. And a lot of the time we're wrong, and some of the time we're right. And that's the story. And it's taken on structure now, so much so that there is a narrative being told since Mob of the Dead. That's very clear to us at this point, that there is a general direction where this storyline's going. Jason Blundell has multiple times told us that the ending of Revelations is exactly how he wanted it. That's exactly how it was supposed to play out. So there is no backpedaling. There is no changes. It's all about timing right now in the Call of Duty Zombie community. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about Shangri-La's location. Nick Zaru, a good friend of mine, made a response video, and I know Johnny J's is making a video as well today, and God knows what he's gonna have and add new facts to this, but that's the beauty of this, is discussion. This is not about Reed being right, or Nick Zaru being right, or Johnny J being right, or whomever. It doesn't matter. But there's some things we need to talk about to try and, like, standardize what we accept as fact in our storyline and what is speculation. One more thing I have to preference here. The other video is meant to be a quick, concise video so you guys can enjoy. This is discussion. It's going to be a little longer because we're going to really flesh out the points here that I can't touch on, because I like to be concise in some videos, and others I like to really build out the thesis. I like us to talk, and when I make points, there's a lot of facts to back it up, or in-game facts, and there is speculation. Anything I say, I'm not pretending I know everything in zombies. That's nonsense. I don't even think Jason knows everything in zombies. Him and his team do, and maybe. And there's things even they overlook and forget at times. Nick Zaru's main comment here was the Phobos moon did not line up with the one inside the game because the moon itself was so small during a solar eclipse. Well, if you ended up checking out what was going on, I had a commenter bring up the point that Nick Zaru, with his 10 seconds of Google searching to find that picture, actually found it when Mars was the furthest away from the sun. So this plays into a fact of right here where you might not be able to tell clearly, but this distance is shorter on this side compared to this distance. It's going to look different depending on where Mars is in comparison to the sun. And at the time of that picture of the Mars rover, it was actually the complete opposite of what it would have looked like when Phobos would have been the largest. Just something to keep in mind. I appreciate the commenter for pointing that out, so I'll link hopefully his comment on screen. So all in all, Nick Zaru's points are taken, but there's still issues with what he's saying about how the size of it doesn't make any sense. Well, Treyarch could choose to do whatever they want. They could say, guess what, that size, it's a Phobos of the past. Maybe before Phobos shrunk in time. I mean, the meteor might have been a different size in the past, because guess what? It's a time-traveling temple. We don't know how the focusing stone impacts our game. We'll get into that in a moment here, but let's start talking about the time-traveling temple. We could be at a point in time on Mars or any other location because it's a time-traveling temple. The Apothicons have some kind of impact here, whether it's the focusing stone itself that impacts the time-traveling temple, or there's a separate time-traveling temple that mimics our MPD. It's an Apothicon influence device. Now, if you don't know what the Apothicons are and the Keepers, go check out my video. I'll link it in the description. It'll really help you about their history. We have really three possibilities here. It's on Earth, it's on Mars, or it's an unknown location. Whoa, just like the loading screen said, which could mean anywhere. That's fine. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3 are not the same game, alright? Black Ops 1, you play as Ultimus, and it's the beginning universe we see at the center of our timeline. Black Ops 3 is the 1.0s, the guys we killed inside Revelations and all the way through Chronicles, and it's in the Zombie Chronicle universe. That is not the same. Possibly it exists inside the Summoning Key. I made another video about that you can check out when you want, but not necessarily does it have to be in the Summoning Key. It was just an idea. It's a pretty ludicrous idea, but Treyarch's putting out their feelers here. We're trying to, at this point, start speculating on where they're going next, and which is so nice that we don't have to be arguing about like stupid things in the past, like the Pentagon Thief. So back to the Mars point. We could travel to a point in time where Mars did sustain life, did have an atmosphere. And now you might be saying like, well, this is strange because at first, during the day, it seems like we're on Earth, and then at night, it seems like we're in a different location. Yes, I would say to that. I like that theory the most. That at day, we are on Earth. That's how Brock and Gary stumbled upon the location to Shangri-La. But when we enter Eclipse mode, that starts the cycle. It starts the loops. It causes the rifts in space-time, and that teleports us to a time in which there was life on Mars, possibly, or the focusing stone could be creating some kind of atmosphere. We don't know what the focusing stone does. What we do know from in-game, it's called Anti-115, which is crazy because the Apothicons were shooting 115 out into the universe. So what is Anti-115? When we plug it into the MPD, it reverses Samantha. And Rick Toffin talks about killing Samantha originally through that Easter egg. So using the Golden Rod and the Focusing Stone, which is Anti-115, they were able to stop this MPD or Apothicon creation. Is the Focusing Stone a complete opposite of the Dark Ether? Now if we think about that, is this all some kind of keeper location? Is this not something that was hidden by the Apothicons, but rather Monty and the Keepers? Was this some special area that the Keepers were trying to keep? I don't know, for you to decide. Now, Xario also brought the point about it being in the DE universe, so the moon's being rebuilt, and that's why it looks that way. It's an interesting idea to me, but I'm not quite sold on it yet. I know Monty's saying he's rebuilding the moon, or it's already rebuilt, and that gets back into our cycle and the way time works in this universe. The timeline does happen linearly, but not the way we interpret it. Treyarch has a narrative where this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, but as we understand it, it is like a universal pot. We have all these different timelines infecting each other and causing different things to happen. Overall, the idea here is Shangri-La is definitely changed. Treyarch would not mess up in that way to put the Shangri-La moon and make it something completely different unless they had some kind of payoff later down the line. That's the only reason we're talking about this stuff, because it's all hinting toward what is next in zombies, which is always shrouded in secrets and shadows. Some people brought up the idea that there could be aliens, like are we actually fighting aliens or Martians? I don't think so. It's still zombies. It's still some version of humans being corrupted by 115. The Endless Hordes are gameplay mechanics, and it's really tough when you start getting down to the nitty gritty that they're like infinitely spawning out of rifts in space-time, just like Monty pushing and pulling magical stuff. It's part of the game. Like when you get, it's really tough when we start talking narratively to explain every single grain of sand inside the game, but I do not believe the zombies are aliens. It's a time-traveling temple. It could be anywhere at any place in time. It could not even exist. It's very possible that Shangri-La is in some kind of fragile dimension similar to Zero Base. As you can see, the moon does not look like the new moon that eclipses it, which sort of looks like Phobos, but it would have to be a big Phobos. It's up in the air. Shangri-La not necessarily have to be on Mars, but it sure shit isn't on Earth in Zombie Chronicles. But that doesn't disprove it was on Earth in Black Ops 1. The information in Black Ops 1 isolated completely blows the Shangri-La on Mars theory out of the water. Treyarch changed things to create new conversation. That's my idea and opinions. I'd love to know yours in the comments down below. It's a discussion. That's why I make these videos, is to hear what you have to say, and then I think about it, and then the community says some more stuff, and then we get some cool theories. Everyone, Red27 here in post, and I just wanted to point out 2 theories and then touch on them in the whiteboard video because I forgot about them. Was the fact that Shang could be coming out of that, being placed into the mountains on the loading screen, so it might be spitting out all of Shangri-La. That was a good point brought it up by all of you guys, which could change our interpretation of the menu that we're getting transported to the mountain range. And the other thing I want to point out is we still don't know why we saw Samantha's shadow in Shangri-La. Is that a Zombie Chronicles hint? Is that a hint toward the Melody Easter egg way back when? Or is that a greater narrative point because that remake loading screen of Moon was put on way before Black Ops 3 came out? So that should have a payoff as well in Shangri-La. Something to keep in mind. I hope you did enjoy this video. Leave a rating if you did. If you didn't, don't worry about it. There will always be another one. Subscribe for more Call of Duty Zombies information. We have so much to look forward to. Again, thank you for 148,000 subscribers. I was going to stream today. Maybe I will later tonight, but I'm trying to prep all my videos because I'm going to E3 next week, so I'm trying to get them all lined up for you guys so you have something to look forward to, and hopefully launch my Patreon next week as well. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.